I mean, he's got no riz, he's got no aura, he's got no charisma, and he also sucked up to libtards. Before he decided to turn heel and become like a right-wing, I'm a right-wing guy. He's a Yale graduate who has genuine disdain for the working poor from these areas that he's supposed to be campaigning in.
Joining us now, Marine, Senator, author of the massive big hit, both in a book form and movie.
Calling Silicon Valley VC-backed pussy-ass dudes who are Marine Corps veterans, like bringing up the Marine background of like pussy-ass liberal Silicon Valley VC guys is the Democratic Party move, okay? That's not the Republican Party. They are literally copying the Democratic Party's flow, okay? We do that. That's our thing. We got a bunch of bitch-ass like, oh my God, I'm so soy, but like I served in the Marine Corps. It's not even Pete Buttigieg. It's like John Kerry. Like there's so many examples of the Democratic Party. I love that you guys simply immediately went to Pete Buttigieg, but that's like such a classic Democratic Party move. It's kind of crazy that the Republicans are doing that now.
Hillbilly Elegy is the Republican vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance. Sir, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm sure you've had a very slow day today.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing happened. Pretty boring.
Nothing happened. Pretty boring day. Let's talk about the process.
Sure.
A lot of questions for you, obviously. What was it like? Because the last couple of days, well, it's down to two, you and Senator Rubio. What was that like for you?
You know, I just tried to enjoy the ride. What an honor to be considered. If it had been Senator Rubio, obviously Marco's a good guy, he's a good friend. So I try to just have a good attitude about it. You know, my family's very excited, obviously asking a lot of questions. I will say, Sean, I hope I'm not betraying too many confidences here, but when the president called me today to actually formally offer me to become, you know, the vice presidential nominee, which just sounds crazy. My son, my 7-year-old son, was sort of making noise in the background. You know, I'm getting so embarrassed. It's like, oh my God, Donald Trump's asking me to be his vice president.
So the phone rings, he calls you, and you're like, okay, this is the call, or maybe not the call.
Or maybe it's a bad call, right? It's the call. Who knows whether it's good or bad? But then he actually has me put my 7-year-old son on the phone. You think about this, everything that's happened, the guy just got shot at a couple of days ago, and he takes the time to...
No way, dude. He's so sick.
Talk to my 7-year-old. It's a moment I'll never forget.
All right. And what did he actually say?
You know, he just said, look, I think we're going to go save this country. I think you're the guy who can help me in the best way. You can help me govern. You can help me win. You can help me in some of these Midwestern states like Pennsylvania, Michigan.
Dude, how is he going to do that? Like, I don't think people like him in those states. Like, he's not a real one. He is so fake, dude. PA is not Midwestern. Chat. Western Pennsylvania, come on. PA is both a Midwestern state, Western Pennsylvania, and PA is also a Southern state, Southern Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is both Pentucky and also Ohio at the same time. I know you guys don't want to admit it, but Pennsylvania is a very unique state that has like rural ass areas that resemble Kentucky. Has a lot of Ohio-ass vibes in the suburbs, but it doesn't matter because guess what? Ohio hates this guy too. It's not like Kentucky doesn't like this guy. Ohio doesn't like this guy. He's just from there, but his entire life has been like shitting on his own personal background to suck up the liberals. I don't know why. Nobody's bringing this shit up. Like I suspect it'll ring alarm bells in the minds of many Americans. Not that the VP pick matters all that much. But like, I suspect that it'll be an issue for a lot of Americans that, well, one, yeah, he's a miscegenation guy, but also I think they just don't. I mean, he's got no riz, he's got no aura, he's got no charisma, he's got nothing, and he also sucked up to libtards for his like before he decided to turn heel and become like a right-wing. I'm a right-wing guy. I love Ohio, born and bred, baby. Like before he did that, he was like a VC guy, and he still is in many respects a VC guy. He's Peter Thiel's blood boy. He's a Yale graduate who has genuine disdain for the working poor from these areas that he's supposed to be campaigning in. No shot. Neither did Pence, true, but Pence's job wasn't to bring Pennsylvania and Ohio or, Wisconsin
and so forth. And he said rightfully that we have been very, very close for a long time, but especially since I endorsed you in 2022. And I would not have won that race without Donald Trump's endorsement. And the president's trust then and his partnership since then has been something I value a great deal.
Let me ask you, you know this happens all the time. You get announced and incoming begins. Let's go over some of it.
Please.
And not questions you haven't heard before, knew would be asked. All of them are fairly predictable, but I think Americans want the answers.
Sure.
Let me go back to, for example, after he announced this, the media, I'm starting to read every article, right?
Yeah.
And criticizing you that, here's a guy, came out of Ohio, his support for a national abortion ban and his twisted belief that women should stay in violent marriages for the benefit of their children exemplifies his dangerous extremism. He's not just wrong for Ohio, he's wrong for the country. I actually saw those articles this weekend. And I said, why would I wait? I wanted to know the answer. I called you.
Yeah.
How do you address that?
Well, look, Sean, first of all, Democrats have completely twisted my words here. And as you know, both me and my mom actually were victims of domestic violence. When they say that, Vance is support.
Pussy. He's a libtard, dude. I'm telling you, this is libtard ass answers, bro. He's not showing strength. He's just doing the classic, oh my God, I'm a victim. And he is a victim. It's true. But that's not how you run the table. Nah, no shot. And Harris is better. I mean, I'm not saying Harris is great, but Harris is a Democrat. That kind of sentiment is actually, that probably will work well in the Democratic Party. If a Democratic Party candidate came out and was like, I was a victim of domestic violence, this is unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. Democrats would be like, oh my God, I love that. Tell me more. You're so brave. Republicans don't give a f that you were a domestic violence abuse victim. Get the f out of here. He's like, wow, when you say this to me, you're saying this to a domestic abuse victim. It's like, what are you talking about? You're literally running for the domestic abuse ticket. Trump is the president on your ticket. The f do you mean? You can't be out here whining. What? You should be like, libtards are gay and they make up the issue of domestic violence. It's not a real problem at all. The real problem is men aren't strong enough to knock out their wives or some shit. You're a Republican. Men have become more soy. Back in my day, they used to end it all with one hit.
Supported women staying in violent marriages. I think it's shameful for them to take a guy with my history and my background and say that that's what I believe. It's not what I believe. It's not what I said. And I think, Sean, it's evidence of the Democrats' complete inability to talk about the future. What are Republicans running on? Delivering the peace and prosperity that Donald Trump already delivered in his 4 years. What are Democrats running on? Lies and complete distortions of people's records. That is something I think the American people are going to reject. They're too smart for it.
I said on January 2nd when the year started, I said, let me tell you what this year is going to be like, and I try to give a perspective.
I'm sorry, you can't tell me this dude is not like a little bit better equipped Ron DeSantis. He's just so lame.
To my audience, it's not my first rodeo,
that's right,
JD. And I said, the Democrats are going to try to make this election about, quote, democracy in peril. How often have we heard that? Meanwhile, they might want to disenfranchise every primary voter that they had.
What did I want? What kind of question is that, dude? What did I want on the Republican ticket? Doug Burgum. I'm a Burgomaniac, dude. What? Don't come in here and ask me silly questions like that. I love Doug Burgum. North Dakota's finest. My goat, my king. Beautiful eyebrows, handsome look, strong jawline. Don't know a single thing about his positions, but it don't matter. It's vibes based. Bill Gates' blood boy. I don't want Peter Thiel's blood boy as the vice president. I want Bill Gates' blood boy is the vice president. And that's why I was riding with Burgum. I was a Burgomaniac. He still could win if you vote for him.
And they wanted to get Donald Trump off the ticket in some states. Another example, it would be about January 6th. It would be about abortion. We hate Donald Trump.
Exactly right.
Can they run on the issue, is the country better off than it was 4 years ago?
Of course they can't, Sean. They can't run on that at all. And they can't run on the issue of, is the world more peaceful than it was 4 years ago? Remember when Donald Trump left office, you had real growing peace movements all over the world. The Abraham Accords that showed a real promise of uniting the Israelis with some of the Sunni Arab states. There was no war in Europe. Asia looked like it was under pretty good control. And 3 years later, it seems like we have a conflict in every corner of the world, and Americans are poorer, Sean. You know a little about my background. I grew up in a poor family. I remember when my grandmother, who raised me, she used to negotiate with the Meals on Wheels people to give her additional food so that she could feed me. How does a family like that deal with Joe Biden's grocery price inflation? How does a family like that deal with gasoline and energy price inflation? It's gotten more expensive just to live a good life in this country. Donald Trump and I want to make that better, and we have policies to make it better. Democrats have lies and distortions, and again, I don't think the American people are going to reward that.
You know, I had an opportunity to talk to Donald Trump, and I knew this question would come up actually for almost every person that was under consideration.
Sure.
And that was past comments.
I think JD Vance has been pandering to liberals for so long that, like, this kind of sentiment plays well in this audience and perhaps plays better in this audience than it does in the broader Republican audience. Does that make sense? Like, I think he's too liberal coded for these people to listen to him and go, yeah, I trust that guy. He has that exact same Democratic air of insincerity that dumbass Republicans are able to usually avoid harder than the top of the hour ad break. Like, what do I mean by this? Like there are a lot of Republicans out there who, in my opinion, do a better job of like presenting themselves as like, hoorah, I'm a man of the people. I think he's too lib-coded. He's too much of a libtard because he's been pandering to liberals for too long. Anyway, don't get dunked on by the top of the hour ad break and subscribe for $5 or for free.
And then
Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
That you had made about him, and when I'll tell you after what his response was, but
Sure.
you didn't have the nicest things to say about him back in 2016, which seems like a long time ago now. You know, you literally said, you texted a friend that Trump is a cynical a-hole like Nixon who wouldn't be that bad and might even prove useful, and that he's America's Hitler, and you compared him to a cultural heroine in the Atlantic Monthly. And I'll tell you Trump's response, but you said that then. What do you say to people that say, well, wait a minute. Sure. What did he mean?
Well, Sean, I don't hide from that. I was certainly skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016, but President Trump was a great...
I love that because it's like, yeah, dude, I was really stupid back then. I was duped by the media, you know, when I was like 35. Very different from now. You understand me? I'm 40 now. When I'm up, that's the real me, and now I'm an old guy. You know, he was just a young guy being duped by what he sees in the media about Donald Trump, these media narratives. I'm so glad he's like, yeah, I was just stupid and impressionable.
President, and he changed my mind. I think he changed the minds of a lot of Americans because, again, he delivered that peace and prosperity. If you go back to what I thought in 2016, another thing that was going on, Sean, is I bought into the media's lies and distortions. I bought into this idea that somehow he was going to be so different, a terrible threat to democracy. It was a joke. Joe Biden is the one who's trying to throw his political opposition in jail. Joe Biden is the one who's trying to undermine American law and order. President Trump did a really good job. And I actually think it's a good thing when you see somebody, you were wrong about him, you ought to admit the mistake and admit that you were wrong.
When I brought it up to him, he said...
I can't wait for this.
Okay, when I brought it up to him, he said, yeah. He goes, but he doesn't think that way now, does he? So he actually had a very good sense of humor about it. It also says a lot about him, and he understands. Were you as political back then?
Not really, Sean. I mean, you know, my book came out in 2016, Hillbilly Elegy. It's
Not really. Was giving TED Talks about what to do with the white working class, bro. Not really.
really the story of growing up in poverty, achieving the American dream, starting out in business. And I really didn't care that much about politics. I certainly had views. I was a Republican, but I was not nearly as involved, obviously, as I am today. And again, there's something that really changed for me, and I think for a lot of Americans, is we saw the results of the Trump presidency compared to the obsessive, deranged media reaction in 2019 and 2020. Like, what's going on? What's so bad about this guy that he's delivered rising wages for American workers and peace in the world? Why is the media so obsessed with him? I think a lot of Americans actually have had a similar awakening over the last few years, because you compare the results with the reaction, and clearly the people with the reaction to the problem, that's not President Trump's problem.
A lot of people forget, too, back in the first debate, I believe it was, and Kamala.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it looks ridiculous when the vice presidential pick says he wasn't political 4 years ago or 8 years ago at the age of like 32. Like, what are you, a baby? I'm 32 right now. Can you imagine, chap? Think about that. He was my age and talking about how like the media narratives really blinded me.
Harris was on the stage with Joe Biden at the time, and she said, I was that girl. If you remember that moment, It was a very hard-hitting moment. What she was referring to is the fact that Joe Biden had partnered with a former Klansman and tried to stop the integration of public schools. Joe Biden's words, he didn't want those schools to become racial jungles. And
Sean, Kamala Harris basically said Joe Biden wouldn't want a little black girl like me to.
Damn, bro. I think they want the Democrats to win. Why are you talking about Joe Biden? Like, talking about how white supremacist Joe Biden is like on Fox News is going to make Fox News watchers change their attitude about him. They're like listing out his W's. There's like 78-year-olds in the chat watching Sean Hannity going, wait a minute, perhaps I must reconsider. Wait, hold on now. Did you say Jim Crow Joe, separate but equal? I think this guy seems kind of cool.
Live in her neighborhood. He also palled around with Klansmen. She said this months before she joined his ticket, Sean. I said some bad things about Donald Trump 10 years ago, but I think it's actually important to be able, again, to admit that you're wrong. And I think I can make a good case to the American people who may have been skeptical of the president back in 2016, who can be skeptical now that we've seen the results.
All right, let's talk about a little bit, and I think these are important times and consequential times.
Sure.
And we see what's happening with the border, for example. I think it's now become the #1 national security threat.
Oh, absolutely.
And we have nearly 11 million unvetted Joe Biden illegal immigrants in this country. What should we do with them?
Well, Sean, we have to deport people. We have to deport people who broke our laws, who came in here, and I think we start with the violent criminals. And President Trump has been very, very effective at communicating on this. So
it is pretty funny to be like, well, Kamala Harris called Joe Biden a racist Klansman, and then she was on the ticket. It's like, yeah, dude, you're using that as a counter against them. Like, or are you saying it's okay? Like, you're literally in the process of using that as a messaging strategy against your opponent, while simultaneously being like, and that's why me calling my current president Hitler is fine. Like, that's so weird. The by your logic shit is so funny always, because it just like falls flat when you are directly responsible, when you are directly hurt by the same logical conundrum that you're showcasing.
So to the point where now a majority of Americans believe that we need to deport a large number of people who have come here illegally. That's a major political victory for him, and I think it's going to lead to a policy victory for the American people. But, John, we have to talk about the fentanyl problem, because this is something that I know extremely personally. And we have close to 100,000 Americans dying of drug overdoses every single year. Most of it is brought in by Mexican drug cartels, manufactured in China, then brought in by these cartels. To get a little personal, my mom struggled with addiction for a big chunk of my early life. That's why
Oh my God, bro. Dude, I think he's going to whine a lot. God, he's such a whiner. Oh, my mom. Oh, my mom. My mom, she was addicted. Oh, my mom. It's like, shut up, dude. What are you doing? What is this trauma dump? Like, Trump was at his weakest when he constantly chirped about how he lost the election, but he didn't actually lose. Okay? Like, you're a Republican, dude. God damn, stop crying. Stop crying about like how your mommy was doing crack or whatever. Like, what? Yeah, what are you, Batman? Oh, my parents were killed. My parents were killed. It dramatically altered the trajectory of my life. My parents were killed. It's like, dude, stop trauma dumping. God damn. I lurk in the shadows now. I think your analysis is wrong on this one, dude. You're missing the objective here. Bro, he's a 40-year-old man talking about like his mom being addicted to heroin. He wrote a book about it. He literally shit all over her and everyone else from those towns. Talks about them like they're mountain people with like a different skull that makes them more predisposed to doing fentanyl. And also, all the while, he was like simultaneously getting funded by the very same pharmaceutical corporations that was responsible for his entire community perishing into opiate hell. Okay? Do you understand what my frustrations are with JD Vance? Do I have to spell it out for you? Also, the very fact that all of you pussy ass liberals in this stupid ass chat are actually crying at a sob story is indicative of the fact that this is not good politics for the Republican Party. Yeah, dude, this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. He's too lib-coded. He's too used to telling his sob story to Chris Matthews on MSNBC and have him go, oh my God, you're telling me you couldn't get upward social mobility? Oh my God, that's so sad. Like, I'm telling you right now, I don't think Republicans respond like this. Okay? You guys are soy as f. Of course you love this shit. This is a sob story that appeals to you. Conservatives literally look at addiction and go, oh, that's a moral failure. You're a moral failure. Your mother is a moral failure. That's the way they operate. Okay? And he's like, oh my God, is at the age of 40, I'm so struck by by my mother's like drug addiction. They look at that and they go, you're gross, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? You probably also have drug addiction problems because I think that shit is genetic. And I think the moral failure is genetic. You're genetically wired to be a moral failure. Republicans loved Hillbilly Elegy. No, the fuck they didn't. Democrats did. Democrats loved Hillbilly Elegy. That's why he wasn't on Fox News promoting Hillbilly Elegy. He was on MSNBC every goddamn night promoting Hillbilly Elegy. No, Democrats love treating white working class Appalachian people like they're like a different breed of human. Also, yeah, Republicans don't read. Or when they do, they read like Bill O'Reilly books. Like, you're wrong. He got so much play from suburban wine moms who was like, how could Donald Trump become president? We must understand the mind of the mountain person in rural Appalachia. And then like the entire message in the book is that, yeah, mountain people are different. Okay. They're a different kind of white. They have a different cultural inferiority to the good liberal kind of white people that you see in the cities. And the bad mountain people, well, they sing songs and they dance and they have this like different bone in their brain that causes them to be addicted to fentanyl. And it has nothing to do with the pharmaceutical corporations absolutely pumping and offloading a shit ton of drugs to these communities with like no real valid way of doing any kind of meaningful healthcare reform in these areas. We shouldn't do that anyway because my donors would hate that. And also, simultaneously, those mountain people have like a uniquely inferior culture of not being self-reliant, not realizing that they can change their own destiny. Why aren't they succeeding? Well, it's because they didn't listen to the right podcasts, okay? I don't think a single goddamn person gives a shit about where he's coming from, and I think they just like Donald Trump. Okay. They like Donald Trump. They think Donald Trump is macho. They think Donald Trump is hot. They think that all of their anger and frustration that they experience on a daily basis is not born out of their material circumstances that they were subjected to. Okay. Their fates sealed centuries before they were ever alive by hyper-capitalist exploitation and a lack of interest in actually uplifting these people. And instead they think, who's making me feel this way? The homosexuals in the media, the liberal elites. Who looks like a liberal elite? JD Vance, because he is a liberal elite. Anyway, they do like Donald Trump. They like Donald Trump because Donald Trump has pure, real resentment towards the liberal elite. He has real resentment born out of the fact that the very same liberal elites, which Donald Trump is a part of, never actually accepted him into polite society because they think he's too crude. Having said that, however, Donald Trump is very good at channeling that frustration towards the liberal elite and making it like a universal resentment that everyone else feels. That's why he can talk about like Graydon Carter being a sissy or whatever, and hogs will still eat that shit up even though they don't know what the the Vanity Fair party is. Okay? He's telegenic in a way that is, unfortunately for the Republican Party, not replicable. Okay? Donald Trump, and this is why I say, this is why I repeat myself all the time. Donald Trump is Obama for white people. Okay? Obama is a once-in-a-lifetime candidate that was uniquely charismatic. He was a neoliberal and his policy agenda was dog shit. He cast everything aside. He ran on a progressive platform and he won by insane margins. And then he kept up that popularity because he was singularly charismatic. Think about it. A black man as the president of the United States of America, a country that's found on slavery and white supremacy. Okay? Who the could do that? And the Democrats have never been able to recreate that. Okay. They look at it and they try to recreate it, but of course they can't recreate it. That's like a uniquely telegenic man. Okay. A uniquely charismatic man. Donald Trump, in many respects, is born out of the resentment and frustration that white supremacists had towards allowing a black man into the highest position. Okay. And Donald Trump is, much like Barack Obama, uniquely charismatic to his own base. He's telegenic. He's charismatic. He's very sassy. He's a petty bitch who's messy and loves drama. Okay. He's practically a homosexual man. Okay. In like the best ways, even though I do believe that he's ace. The Republicans can never have another Donald Trump. It's just not going to happen. Yes, someone in the chat said lightning in a bottle, and I agree. Do not put us together. Come on, Joby, be for real. Donald Trump is incredibly messy, okay? He's incredibly messy. He's incredibly petty, and he has a penchant for drama, okay? It's true. He makes phenomenal television, and people eat that shit up. They love watching it. And the reality is, this motherfucker comes on TV and tries to do that shit, it's not going to work. To be fair to him, he's not even trying to do the Donald Trump shit. He's trying to do his own shit. Ron DeSantis had even less charisma than JD Vance and tried to do the Trump shit, and everybody turned around and was like, whoa, I'm changing the TV channel. I don't ever want to see this ever again.
Grandmother, who I call Mamaw, raised me. But the coolest thing, maybe the greatest blessing of my life, is that my mom is about to celebrate 10 years sober.
I don't want to see a 40-year-old man talk about me, ma, mama, bro. Come on. You went to Yale. Shut the fuck up, me, ma, mama.
And she is able to celebrate 10 years sober, frankly, because the poison that's coming across the border now wasn't coming across in such large numbers 15 years ago. We are depriving Americans of a second chance with their loved ones. You cannot keep on doing this. You're orphaning an entire generation of kids. Go to Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Sean. You have thousands of grandparents raising grandchildren that they weren't expecting to raise because of the poison Joe Biden let it come across the border. President Trump is the guy to stop this. And if we don't stop it, we're going to lose a generation of young kids.
You know, when I saw you in Atlanta,
He doesn't even sound angry. He sounds like a bitch. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, he literally, he doesn't even sound mad. When Donald Trump talks about this shit, he's like, I hate those immigrants. I hate them. They're bringing drugs across the border. They want to kill your mother. They want to kill your father. They want to rape your daughters. What is he even saying, lol? He's trying to do the Trumpian shit where he's like, yeah, fentanyl addiction is happening because Mexicans are crossing the border, which is objectively false, but it doesn't matter. It's on Fox News. Saying truthful things on Fox News is probably the worst thing you can do. It's never going to happen. You're running for Republican office. You're going to lie. That's fine. You know, we know that already. We've moved past that. Okay. It's just that when he's talking about it, he's not even angry. He's not even like, oh man, I'm really mad that like this immigration stuff, like it's actually really running rampant in the country. He's like, oh no, if we let Mexicans in, my mama is going to get fentanyl addicted again. Like, shut up, dude. You can't on the one hand say unimaginably reactionary shit while simultaneously crying about your mima and mama and papa, okay? Just be racist. That's it. He's trying to lib code racism.
I said I felt a little embarrassed because I was one of the few Americans, because most people knew Hillbilly Elegy. It was a massive bestseller that became a movie. And I literally read at least a book a day researching
I know you do.
Radio and television. And so I decided
Fuck off.
to watch the movie. And when I saw you, I did ask you, is this really what your life was? Appalachia? And this is the history of your life. Appalachia, you become a Marine. And by the way, your mom was a drug addict and an alcoholic. Your father, not exactly the greatest father in the world. And you grew up poor, and you had an amazing grandmother that came out of your life too.
That's right.
But then you joined the Marines, you served in Iraq, you came out of school, you went to Ohio State, you went to Yale, you prospered at Yale. Then you went on to be successful in business, which, by the way, Democrats are criticizing you for. They wish you failed, I guess, when they wrote that. Considering where you came from, it's the American dream. And then, you know, you got into politics, and you did so successfully. A pretty amazing story. Give us some texture and context.
Yeah, you got into politics. You did so successfully because, once again, a gay libertarian villain who is obsessed with the bad guys in Lord of the Rings gave you $10 million and dumped an unimaginable amount of funds on top of that in ad spend so that you can barely get carried across a finish line in a state where Donald Trump won by 8 points. Okay? It's just like he is not a good candidate. He's not a good candidate. He's not a good vice presidential candidate. He was apparently, and I didn't even know this originally, he was literally texting teenagers on Twitter in group chats. That's what the Ed Incrementum was talking about when he was like, oh, JD Vance is compromised. JD Vance is compromised. He's got a weird case. Why is he around? It turns out that motherfucker was in the group chats with him. Yeah. Does anyone have the tweet? Yeah, he was in group chats with teen groypers, dude, which is crazy. I think he's only VP because of Peter Thiel. No, exactly. That's the only reason why he's worth a damn in Donald Trump's eyes, in my opinion. Donald Trump is so desperate to make as much money as possible. I thought this was a joke. Why does Senator Vance refer to a group chat with children in it as the Simps chat? I'm politely asking Cleveland to follow me back, says Caleb Burdett. Yo, Akron Caleb is thirsty, says JD Vance. Caleb, it is so over, Napoleon Complex sufferer responds. Just practicing my cool kid lingo with the Simps chat. VP issues in 1992, spelling the word potato wrong one time. VP issues in 2024. JD Vance follows Bronze Age lowly Hitler rape groyper. You can read my slightly more sober analysis on Vance here. Also on my Substack is this assessment for Vance last year. Vance isn't much better than Blake Masters, but I couldn't put him in the same tier when one of them has actually gotten elected. Pros, has won an election. Pros, not prone to racist outbursts yet. Pros, liked by the National Republican Party. Pros, able to use the services of Cum Groiper 1488 if needed. Cons, not loyal to Trump. Cons, lacking any wedge issue or movement to represent. Cons, has long list of enemies. Cons, and perhaps this is the worst con of all time, adult Catholic convert! Are you kidding me? Dude, you know how I feel about the zealotry of a recent convert. You know how I have all the smoke about adult converts, born again Christians specifically. But god damn, there is nothing funnier. There is nothing funnier than just like looking at all the religions out there and being like, the one that is famous for pedophilia, that is my shit, dog. Oh, you know he DMs the Red Scare girls. Oh, 100%. JD Vance once wrote that he convinced himself that he was gay when he was a kid. Oh my God. Dude, no way. Dude, wait, what? No way, dude. He came in like this. Biden, huge Macklemore fan. You mean JD Vance? You're laughing? This song ended homophobia and you're laughing? Donald Trump humiliated JD Vance.
Former President Trump held a rally last night for Ohio Senate candidate JD Vance.
Yeah.
And here's what the Trump endorsement looks like these days. Let's listen.
The New York Times did a fake story today, big front page, that JD wasn't sure if he wanted my support. JD is kissing my ass. He wants my support. This is...
What? No. Why, you want to be in? Oh, you want to join for that? Okay. Why, is your fan base also yelling at you and saying that you're secretly hiding the truth about Cody Co? Yeah, that you haven't made a video about it yet? Yeah. Alex is asking because he wants to join in on the Cody Co video. Shut the fuck up. Dude, it was so crazy. There's like the fact that there is like a decent amount of people in this community that were like, seems sus that you still haven't covered Cody Co. Alex and I are gonna make a joint statement. We're gonna apologize for only covering lame shit like the election cycle and not important shit.
A great person who I've really gotten to know. Yeah, he said some bad things about me, but that was before he knew me, and then he fell in love.
Yeah, Barbara, I mean, what do you think? Was that helpful to JD Vance at all?
I thought that was an in-kind contribution to Tim Ryan, the Democrat. I mean, it made J.D. Vance look like a mouse.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't an election cycle. It was an assassination attempt. You're right. Did you hook up Tana with Cody? That's what this all points to? Yeah, dude. When I was like working at TYT, I had a lot of pull. I was all up in them crowds.
mouse, not a man. It was humiliating. And that rally last night, it was a QAnon fest. It was playing this strange QAnon music. They were all sort of, bowing to, I think Marjorie Greene was there talking about the one true leader they have to be loyal to. And it actually was not very well attended. It wasn't the usual, so I think this is a dying, the last gasps of a dying cult, not I do think this is an embarrassment. And if I were, J.D. Vance is really a shell of a person to be there bowing and scraping to somebody who he rightfully attacked, just a few years ago. And those
liberals are so ruthless when it comes to a guy like J.D. Vance, who they personally thought was one of them. You know what I mean? It's just that's not a liberal, that's a Republican.
Statements are out there publicly, and
I mean,
think
that's a never Trump Republican.
Best thing for Tim Ryan would be
and therefore
put his
that's a never Trump Republican. Therefore, they're liberal.
Prior statements where he attacked Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump.
American politics is just liberalism and more liberalism. Okay, it's just liberalism and more liberalism. Liberals everywhere, and then sometimes fascists. Okay, it's liberalism light versus liberalism hard versus extra liberalism, which is when you're a fascist. What is this, bro? Okay, dude, I gotta run this back again. I'm sorry. Yo! Hey, yo! I have to reiterate the former point that I made about Donald Trump being a gay man. Okay? Where are my haters now, dude? He's beautiful. I would like to have sex with him, but of course, I'm ace aromantic. I'm ace arrow, folks.
Go. America the brave still fears what we don't know.
This fits into the Trump is in a gay lover conspiracy with the shooter narrative as well. The shooter was in a love circle with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, and he knew Trump was about to make the move and come out in public and turn their throuple into a couple. So he came, and in that last desperate moment, he took the shot. Okay. Yeah, the shooter was probably in the Simps chat. It was a crime of passion. He is a man who is scorned, just like David DePipe and Paul Pelosi. That's why Trump was making fun of Pelosi's husband. He was jealous. Yeah. Only missed because of the tears in his eyes. Exactly. My mom believes that Paul Pelosi's hammer guy was his lover who gave my mom a brain damage like that. Yo, my bad. Black cat or rot. Hey, yo, my bad, bro. I might have played a role in that. And I apologize. Okay? Hey, I apologize for my transgressions once again. I was out here in the streets telling everybody that Paul Pelosi had gay sex with David DePipe and they had a lover's quarrel type situation. And I apologize. Some people might have taken that. Some people might have misunderstood. I was joking when I said that. You said he was a bisexual man 4 years ago and it stays true. Yeah. I don't know, man. The RNC is not as energetic and Trump didn't get enough hype. Dude, this has been the wokest RNC. They had Sikh people doing prayers at the RNC, bro. They had Amber Rose, who is a sex worker who's openly pro sex work, did the slut walk. You know what I mean? Amber Rose spoke. They had bald representation, bald union leader representation. What the f going on? Unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. They're doing DEI, dude. Yeah. J.D. Vance's wife is Indian. J.D. Vance is doing miscegenation, bro. Are you rocking with that? Are you rocking with miscegenation when the Supreme Court is about to ban it? Huh? Just saying. Yeah, they have sex worker representation, labor leader representation, every marginalized identity you can find. I'm just saying. And J.D. Vance and Donald Trump might be gay lovers. Huh.
To that life. That's a tough life you had.
Yeah, Sean, it was tough in a lot of ways, but blessed in a lot of ways. And I think you got to sort of accept the good with the bad. I wouldn't see the world the same way that I see it without that experience, and I really do see it as a blessing. I mean, the grandmother who raised me was such an amazing person. I mean, she was a woman of deep Christian faith. She cursed like a sailor. I mean, she had a mouth that would really make a Marine Corps drill instructor blush, but she was so loving and so disciplined, and I really think that all the opportunities that I've had come directly from her.
I can't be alone in this whole like me. My grandparents were so beautiful shit. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch, or I just like I want that like bloodless Republican energy. But like all of this shit is so libbed up, dude. It's gross listening to him. There is this like veneer of elitism, and I don't think he's having his moment. Like there's just something off about the way he explains his background, where you can tell this is like a rehearsed canned speech. Oh yes, it is Big Mayor Pete energy. Yo, that's so good. That's such a lock, dude. There is a very disingenuous way that these guys who are very well spoken, like the Silicon Valley tech geek speak that he's doing. Like even Vivek, despite for the Republican Party being Indian is obviously unacceptable, despite that, was able to like say the lines sometimes in a more convincing way than he is. And even he was appealing to the same Groyper crowd. It's like interviewing an actor about the role. Yeah, no, he speaks like a consulting firm guy. He speaks like he actually had no role in fixing bread prices in Canada. That's how he speaks. You know what I mean? He just has like, what is wrong with you? Dude, so many things. Where do I begin? I'm a leftist in America, brother. There's a lot wrong with me, okay? What's wrong with you? Why are you in here? Vivek is speaking now. Please tune in. No, I needed a laugh. Okay. I hope we were able to give you laughter and joy in your otherwise hellish nightmare of a life, you fucking conservative dingus. Every other day is going to be worse than the day prior, with you constantly going, oh my God, why is everything bad? Donald Trump became president again, and there's still Mexicans around. What the fuck is going on? Why? Why hasn't my life gotten better? Why has it only marginally gotten better? Because that's how you felt during the first 4 years of the Trump presidency, but you have amnesia. So right now you think, oh man, things are going to get so much better when he's president again. You know what he's going to do? He's going to give me tax breaks while he takes money out of your pocket. Your roads are going to be worse. Well, my roads too. Obviously, we're on the same roads until libertarians come in and basically make it so that rich people go on one with one license plate on one roads, and then poor people go on the other road, which is even shittier. Okay. That's one hell of an assumption. Is it? If you're coming in here while I'm chirping about JD Vance and going, what's wrong with you? You know, I think it's a pretty solid lock. Yeah, listen, we're going to do Israel-style apartheid, but for the rich and the poor in this country, which already kind of exists. Yeah, you love Trump for the tax breaks, brother. Oh, yeah, me, famous lover of tax breaks. Love it, dude. Big fan. That's why I refuse to leave the state of California so I can pay Norwegian taxes up in this bitch and get nothing in return, because they all directly go to either the military and Israel's bombing campaigns, or they can go directly into the domestic military, the police force, so they can get new toys they can use on homeless people. Big fan of that.
She also believed in this country and recognized that most people in Washington do not care about people like her. And when I talk about generations of grandparents raising generations of grandchildren, that's exactly who I think about, because I remember my mamaw, she couldn't afford her Medicaid payments. She couldn't afford the prescription drugs that she needed. She sometimes couldn't even afford food for both me and her. Those are the people who suffer when we have the policies that we've had over the last 3.5 years. And those are the people who stand to benefit the most.
Dude, every time he says mama, I think he's like losing voters. I'm sorry. My mama. Why do you engage with people that will clearly stop your flow? I like dunking on people so they like remember. Because I shit on Joe Biden a lot because he deserves to be shitted on. He's old as he's shitting on himself a lot in his diapers, but then like he still deserves to be shitted on. So then I think a lot of people feel comfortable thinking like, oh yeah, dude, this guy must love Trump. And it's like, no, I don't, dude. Okay. No, I do not. I do love having Republicans in here. I do. I do. I really do. I like them more than I like the annoying liberals who are like, oh, I'm a NATO voter. Like, shut the fuck up, dumbass. Go back to Reddit. But like, at least Republicans are content when they're chirping. Like they're funny. They say like unimaginably idiotic things, and they don't even like maintain this or even try to desperately maintain this. Like, no, you don't understand. I am an intellectual, and that's why I'm presenting this theory. They just straight up are just like hysterical. They're like, no, there's an immigrant in every shadow waiting, waiting to stab me and my memo. Like, I personally think that's a much more fun subject to tackle than having the conversation about how like China is the greatest evil on this planet the 700th time. Okay. You don't understand. China's encroaching on America's key allies in the region by just existing there so close to an American military base. So we have to nuke them is not a thing that I want to, it's not a conversation that I'm fond of having a million times over.
From President Trump round 2.
Let me go back to the scene, and you referred to it earlier, Meals on Wheels.
Yeah.
And she would negotiate an extra something because you have.
You said kind of glad he didn't get media perms with the RNC. I would have loved this. Carrie Lake riling up the crowd about fake news people and pointing to us, calling us layers, and getting everyone to boo at us. I've been told not to wear my yellow media lanyard outside the forum for my safety. Again, waiting for the unity approach they're talking about. Yeah, I would love that shit, dude. Are you kidding me? I'd be like, yeah, they are fake. I hate them. You would have debated all these hogs, blend right in. No, when I'm around hogs, remember, I like to play the role of a hog. It's like, dude, I'm in hog heaven at RNC. Those are my people. I'll code switch like a motherfucker. They boot you for anti-white racism so fast. Who says I would be anti-white racist?
Had nothing else? Nothing?
Well, we sometimes we struggled, but sometimes, Sean, we didn't have anything. And she would negotiate to get a little bit of extra so that she could share with me and also have enough for herself. Look, sometimes tough work, sometimes times were hard, right? And, but I look back on that and I think to myself, when I go and talk to people, when I serve people as a United States Senator from the state of Ohio, I go and visit a food bank, I actually understand a little bit what people are going through. And so, yeah, it was tough when I was dealing with it, but now I really do think it's a blessing because it's given me a perspective a lot of politicians don't have.
Let's talk about what you believe the role of a vice president should be.
Sure. Well, look, Sean, I think it's...
Your white privilege is showing, Haas? No, that's precisely what it is. Yes. That's why I still believe I can be a double agent in a crowd like this. Yeah. Like, that was the point. Yeah, I can ride with these. I can ride with these hogs. Okay? I think I can ride with these hogs better than JD Vance can. 100%. Like, if they don't know who I am, if they don't know, like, I'm the 9/11 guy, are you kidding me? I've done it. I've done it at, like, the QAnon rally that I went to.
Very simple. Number one, you need to support the president in enacting the agenda, whether it's going and meeting with foreign leaders, whether it's working with the Senate and the House to get legislation passed. The president can't be everywhere. Even Donald Trump can't be everywhere. So you've got to be a person he can trust, he can rely on to actually advance the agenda. That's the most important job. Of course, if something, God forbid, happens, you got to be ready to step into that office. That's one of the most important roles of the vice president. But I think Donald Trump, very healthy, going to serve for 4 very good years, but we've got to have Republicans who are helping him with the agenda. You remember this as well as anybody, Sean. As successful as he was politically, even after he was elected, certain Republicans didn't want to actually enact the America First agenda. You've got to have leaders in Washington who are supporting him, not fighting against him.
This guy sucks, bro. He's not talking about how woke gender is killing Ohio. He's not talking about how the liberal wokes want to do gender crimes. He's not talking about how, like, abortion is murder.
Talk about an occasion where you might disagree with him.
Sure.
How do you view your role in terms of handling that moment?
That's very...
Yeah, he's pro Project 2025, which is nerd shit. Don't say that. Don't say that you're like, Donald Trump knows how to read the room better than this motherfucker. That's why he was like, what is this Project 2025 shit? I wash my hands of this. Okay, I don't know what that is. I don't fuck with those guys. It's like, he's smart.
Simple, Sean. I think that you owe it to the president to be honest with him if you don't think that he's doing the right thing, if you disagree with him, but you do it in private. You offer your counsel in private, because a lot of the vultures in the press, they will blow up every public disagreement.
So you've met my colleagues while you're here. I call them state-run media.
No, they absolutely are state-run media. In fact, they're so state-run that even after President Trump was shot and he showed a remarkable...
In light of recent events, we decided now is the time for healing and unity. So this week we wanted to reach across the aisle and invite popular far-right conservative content creator Lily Petru on the podcast to share her opinions. out everywhere now. Thanks for the invite. Super cool you're able to listen to people outside your godless liberal echo chamber and invite a small conservative content creator like myself. Makes me think the woke mob isn't too bad, but you're all still going to hell anyway, lol. Oh, did you guys watch the last episode of the pod? It was a banger, right? I told you. Why wasn't it uploaded yesterday? Because the wokes canceled because we didn't do enough gender. We didn't groom enough children, and we didn't do enough gender in the pod. So the wokes canceled the pod. They demonetized it instantly. So we had to wait until there was a human, a patriot at YouTube, who watched it and then said, okay, never mind. There is enough gay gender in this podcast. We'll allow it to be monetized. Except you're trying to do a 30-minute person on this, thinking that's good content. I thought that would have been a banger content, but it was too long. 30 minutes was too long. They wouldn't believe you that Austin was gay. Yeah, I kept telling them, no, we have a gay one. We have a gay one on the pod. We love gender. Chat, what is the I survived thing? I posted it on my TikTok. Go watch it if you want to know what I survived. Who keeps deleting my comments about wanting to stop euthanizing healthy dogs in U.S. shelters? Wait, are you being serious? This is why I love hogs in the chat, okay? This is why I love hogs in the chat. Because they just hear me say the words that they're used to hearing from Republicans, and they just think I'm being sincere. That's why I love hogs in the chat. They get so confused. They're like, Hasan, are you voting for Trump seriously? And all it takes is me to be like, hell yeah, brother. And they're like, okay, I'm invested. Oh, that's a white woman who just got here. That's a white woman who's a Trump supporter. Don't make fun of them. No, it's fine. It's fine. As long as I keep shitting on Nancy Pelosi, they'll keep coming back for that good shit. Okay.
Remarkable amount of unity and defiance and calmness. They blamed him for the rhetoric, even though he was the victim of a near assassination. It's crazy. But I think it's really important that you don't have Republicans who blow up disagreements so that they can win points with the media, who are never going to treat Republicans fairly. The job is to help enact the agenda. And why does that matter? Because that's what's going to make people's lives better.
Let's talk about, I'm sure in the course of this process, it had to go through your...
Miss Riz, XOXO is not the person I was thinking of. This is a different person. This is not a hog. I apologize. I'm not deleting your comments about the dogs. I am a dog lover. I was thinking about someone else from yesterday who has a name very similar to yours, and I apologize, Miss Riz. I don't know who's deleting your comments about dog shelters. How can you remember names? That's still crazy to me. No, I'm again, a lot of things are wrong with me.
Your head, God forbid.
The fire vid was very anticlimactic. Dude, when you watch it in like, I don't obviously want to show the OG content. You have to wait for the actual video to come out. The fire video is actually dope if you watch it on like, with the normal camera that was shot in. That's just BTS. It's like looking at a BTS footage of a movie and being like, wow, this movie sucks. Hasan, will you someday say you support the CIA as well? I want to be able to show you to my parents. No.
What if we saw this on Saturday? President Trump, a millimeter, if he didn't turn his head, we would be having a very different conversation tonight.
We would.
And I certainly believe in God and faith, and it's an important part of my life. But it was that close. And you always hear about one heartbeat away from the presidency. And I'm sure Americans are watching you tonight. Are you ready at a moment's notice to step into that role? And what do you believe?
Yeah, there's enemies all over the place for Donald Trump. He could get shot again in the ear. You know what I mean? Are you ready when the time comes?
Most qualifies you for that?
Well, Sean, the answer is yes. And I have to say, you have to have some humility about this. It's the biggest job in the world. But I served my country successfully in the United States Marine Corps. I had a successful business career, and I have the vision and the agenda aligned with President Trump to make the American worker better off, to bring peace to the world, and to actually advance an agenda that's good for American citizens. I think the experience that maybe most Americans would care about, it's not that I spent 2 years in the Senate, and I think I've had a very successful 2 years in the Senate. It's that I came from nothing, became a United States Marine, and succeeded in business. That's the experience that I think gives you a fresh perspective. You combine that with the ability to get things done.
Bro, I can't listen to him. It's so boring. Am I crazy? I just like, oh my God, he's so boring. He's no content, dude.
Meanwhile, let's go to Bill Malush.
Before we get to the other stuff that was happening, RFK came out and said, when President Trump called me, I was taping an in-house videographer. I should have ordered the videographer to stop recording immediately. I'm mortified that this was posted. I apologize to the president. We're also going to show an awkward moment between Congressman Matt Gaetz and Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
What night are you speaking? Are you speaking tonight? Or one person? No. Hey, you're not. If you took that stage, you would get booed off of it. You would get booed off the stage.
Dude, I love when they're being petty bitches. To which Kevin McCarthy actually responded with a banger.
One who's not coming back, and then the other part that you have, and the other part you have is one person who raised the issue. He's got an ethics complaint about sleeping with a 17-year-old. So that's the way they would go. So
this side of the story is pretty fire. Like, who do you think looked better in this? I mean, listen, I'm a never Kever myself, but the forever Kevers won this night. Okay. I mean, trading haymakers. Are you kidding me? It's like a dude. This is the nuclear bomb versus coughing baby. Okay. Kevin McCarthy is on CNN saying Matt Gaetz tried to fuck a 17-year-old and got an ethics complaint for it. Meanwhile, dumbass Matt Gaetz is on the other side like, people don't like you here. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Kevin McCarthy also had sex with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Who's the winner of this situation? You know what I mean? I can't believe I said that. Like, even as a joke.
Shut up, Gates. Hey, don't be an asshole. Dude, I don't even know who you are, man. It doesn't matter what. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, I'm just standing here. So don't be an asshole.
I don't even know who you are. God, Matt Gaetz sucks so bad. That's awesome.
Hey, don't be an asshole. Dude, I don't even know who you are, man. It doesn't matter what. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, I'm just standing here. So don't be an asshole.
I'm just standing here. He's such a bitch. Yo, he is such a bitch, dude. He is such a bitch. Oh, I'm just standing here. I don't know who you are.
Booed off the stage.
Shut up, Gates.
He said, shut up, please. White people are so funny. This is when white people crash out, okay? Shut up, please. Oh, he says, shut up, Gaetz? Oh, my bad. It's still funny. Shut up, Gaetz.
Shut up, Gates. Hey, don't be an asshole.
Why are you being an asshole? Yeah, you're on thin ice, buddy. Yeah, it's the white person crash out, dude. You're on thin ice, buddy. Newsflash, bucko. You better back off, pal. Why I got a knuckle sandwich with your name on it. Oh, now you've crossed the line. Oh, this is so good.
Dude, I don't even know who you are. It doesn't matter what. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, I'm just standing here. So don't be an asshole.
I'm just standing here. Come on. You can't do that. You can't pop off and then like just go, I'm just standing here and run away. You can't do that. Take a hike. Oh, dude, this is great. I'm just standing here, bro. Calm down. You that can't be your final words, okay? Like, that can't be the last thing that you say in this scenario, okay? Take a hike.
You would get booed off.
Oh, this is so good. Good stuff.